Hi, I'm Cynthia Ng and you're tuning in to AWANI Review. Joining me today is a very special guest, Datuk Vinod Sekhar. He is the founder, chairman and CEO of Petra Group. Thank you so much, Datuk, for making time for this show.
My pleasure.
I want to start with what's been happening in your life. You were quite a prominent feature in the corporate sector maybe 10, 15 years ago, but have taken a step back from the corporate limelight. Tell us why. What are you doing right now?
Well, let's look from a simplistic perspective. I was in the limelight when I was very young, because I started when I was very young. I was also, I wouldn't say political, but I had very strong political views about what was right and what was wrong. I was a strong advocate of Datuk Anwar Ibrahim, and I supported him from the time he was jailed the first time. I fought for him for the time he was jailed the second time. I was also very close to Datuk Tun Abdullah Badawi, who to this day, doesn't matter what anyone says, I still think was a great man, a good man. I think Tun Badawi was a very, very good man who tried to do the right thing. However, my relationship with the government of Najib Razak was not so warm and friendly. I had very strong opinions about them. I had very strong opinions about their use of race and religion to divide our country. I had very strong opinions about what they did to Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim. But I had an issue with the BN government of that time, with the regime at that time. Mm-hmm. And my outspokenness, my willingness to say it openly, is not something businessmen are meant to do. I'm sure you know this. We're meant to, do business, keep quiet, enjoy the largesse and of the government, and if you're on a gravy train, enjoy the gravy train and don't say anything. I've never taken a government contract in my life. I've not inherited any money from anybody. Just my father's reputation and his work, which is, I guess, worth more than billions, as far as I'm concerned. But I've never taken a government loan. I've never taken a government grant. I've never run a public company. I've never used public funds. I've fallen and risen on my own with my partners. And so I guess for me this perspective was different. Mm-hmm. I was not on a gravy train. I was no interest in being on a gravy train, and I was not asking anything from the government other than just I'm going to do my business. But I thought that it was my responsibility as someone that could speak, that someone that had the resources to speak, to stand up and say what I thought, what was right and what was wrong. People can disagree, but I think that's what makes a society that's, ready to move forward, that we can agree to disagree and move forward. But the government of the time did not believe in agreeing to disagree.
So now with Malaysia Baharu under new leadership, what are your hopes? What are the changes in the corporate sector that you hope to see?
I think the changes are quite dramatic, and this is a lot of the changes the public don't see immediately, because like everything else, there's so much work to do behind the scenes. And I've seen this. I'm not part of it. Mm-hmm. I'm not part of the government. But I've seen my friends in government. I've seen the people I speak to, and the work they do is enormous. You must understand the mess left behind was far more significant than any of us thought. Much worse, right? And it's taking a lot of time to fix it. And I think they're getting there. Mm-hmm. I think there's still some issues. I think there are still some politicians in Pakatan that have the mindset either of being too racially exclusive, racially exclusive. Mm-hmm. And then some in Pakatan that also maybe want to rush too fast for those that are not ready yet. You can't reverse something that's been going on for 30 years. In one day, 1 year, it just doesn't happen. It's a process. And I believe in incremental steps. I believe that 3 steps forward, 2 steps back is still 1 step forward, right? The important thing is that we keep moving forward and we realize mistakes and we keep fixing it. But that requires leadership, that requires guts, that requires true leadership is not looking at where everyone is running and then jumping ahead and then running there with them. True leadership is deciding where the country needs to go in what direction we need to get to, and then just moving in that direction, taking the people kicking and screaming if necessary, because that's the direction we
That
have
is
to go
the
in.
direction. I know you have been a very vocal person, not just issues on politics. You stand up for the marginalized, LGBT. You stand up against inequality. As a corporate figure, when you look at where the country is heading, what is the direction that should be doing?
I believe Malaysia is one of the most unique countries around. I'll tell you this now. With all our problems, with all our issues, we are still the best country in the world. There's nowhere else I'd rather be, and I've visited every country around, I think. All right? I've gone to university, I've gone to school, I've visited, I've stayed. There's nothing like Malaysia.
Mm-hmm.
We are one of the most unique countries in the world because we're not just multiracial, multi-religious, multi-ethnic, multilingual. We don't just live together, we thrive together. Now, yes, there are inequalities. Yes, there is unfairness. But you know, there's unfairness, inequality everywhere. There's more racism in Australia and America and Europe than there's ever in Malaysia. But that's not a comparison we should be doing. Because what I've always said is I criticize my country because I believe where my country should be. I don't care where other countries are. I don't care what situation other countries are in. Because I know the potential of my country. And we can be so much more. And where I see our country going is we're a true social capitalist country. True social capitalist state. Where we are pro-business. We believe people should aspire to make money, to rise to the top. At the same time, we ensure, and we find a way of ensuring, that at the lowest level we take care of people, whether it's healthcare, whether it's education. Now, I don't think we got education right yet, but we need to get there. But certainly healthcare, we're getting there. Might not be the best, but we are better than most other countries in the world in terms of how we take care of those who need medical care and those that can't afford medical care. Right? And what is social capital? For me, social capital is very simple. And this is an argument I had with a former leader of a communist country. And it's about what is the minimum that society should have. And I believe there is a minimum that every society should have. And the minimum is a full head, a full stomach, roof over your head, right? Access to education, ensure you can eat every day, and you're safe and healthy with a place to live. That should be what society must ensure every citizen has.
But the reality is that the top 1% of the world, of Malaysia, it's more about making profits for a shareholder, return of investment.
Okay, let's look at that. There's nothing wrong with that as long as they make sure the minimum is met.
Okay.
Here's
How
the
do you
thing.
ensure that? How do you get
I
that?
think it's tempering greed. Look, let's understand what capitalism is. People have misunderstood capitalism. I don't believe in socialism. I don't believe in communism. I don't believe in any of that. I think it's all rubbish because it goes against human nature. True capitalism is social capitalism. But let's call it capitalism. And capitalism is about wealth creation. How do I make money? I make money by selling you a product and someone else a service, right?
But
How
the
do I
problem
make-
is the wealth distribution.
Yeah, well, but think about it. And let me see this through. I sell you product, I sell service. How do I make more money? I need more of you. If I really want to make more money, I need more of you. Which means I, as a businessman, have to play a role in pushing people out of poverty into the middle class so I can sell them more products. Here's the thing. I want your money, but I need you to have it before I can take it away from you. Now that is sustainable wealth creation. That's true capitalism. You've seen other forms of capitalism which is nonsense, which falls apart. Philippines, Zimbabwe, where you ignore in the early days, the early days Philippines under Marcos, where you ignore the poor. You just take, you cannibalize your own market, and there's nothing left. Now Malaysia is on the path of trying to get that balance, which is you lift people up, but you allow business to flourish. Have a minimum. Make sure people can have an education. Make sure people can have food, have a roof over their head, even if it's a little dormitory, right? Healthcare. Now, after that, it should be a free-for-all. If you're happy with just that, fine. You want to be a millionaire, you want to be a doctor, you want to be an engineer, you want to own a private jet, you want to own whatever you want. Be the best you can be. And I think that's the role of government, to work out that balance. Now, businesses can no longer, in my opinion, and this election, for me, was the turning point to say this has to be the way. Because Malaysia is a trading nation. We're a business nation. We're not a military power, right? We're an economic power. We're a trading power. That's what we do. That means businesses are the most critical part of this country. Governments fall, governments rise based on how our businesses do, how small and medium enterprises do. You know, that's what this nation backbone is, right? Trading. And so I believe the days of businessmen saying that we're not involved in society. We're not involved in politics reform, political reform. We're not involved, it's gone. Businessmen must be part of societal development. Businessmen must be part of saying, no, we're going to be involved in what's right and what's wrong. We're going to be part of the discussion. More importantly, we're going to be part of the solution. Now think about this. Just think about this. What if everyone did something? Not a lot. Some people can do a little bit, some people, but everyone did something. Imagine what we could do. Imagine what we would achieve. It doesn't affect business. I mean, what I give, whether it's charity or whether it's society, whether it's work, it's not denied me anything.
How do you get a buy-in from the corporate sector?
I think it's talking to them and convincing them from a logical perspective, this is how they make more money. Right? Why? Because if you become a fuel company, if you're the company of the community, if you're the company that everyone says, this is a good company, this company makes money, and look what it's doing for everybody, and everyone likes working for it, your share price goes up. If we can get analysts and fund managers to understand these are the kind of companies you invest in, because they're going to get more market, what happens is, part of greed, everyone says, hey, we like that. Let's go do that. Right? So it's all, this whole idea of greed, right? Greed is neither wrong or right. It's neither good nor bad. It just is. We're greedy for love, we're greedy for ambition, we're greedy for everything, right? Power, position, whatever. It just is. We're all part of it. What we need to do is temper greed. Just temper it. Now, greed is a very powerful engine. It's like a 7-liter Bugatti sports car. You're driving this. If you don't know how to drive it, you'll crash and kill yourself or kill someone else. But if you can temper it, if you can control that engine, you can accelerate at the right time, slow down, take the curves, brake when you need to, you know, then you have control over a very powerful engine. That's all greed is. So temper greed. What can you do with 10 million that you can't do with 8? What can you do with 100 million you can't do with 80? For that effect, what can you do with 10 ringgit you can't do with 8? When you look from that perspective, what are you sacrificing? If you're willing to take a little bit of that to now not just make society a bit better, and when I say society, it might be your own employees. It might be trying to create a program to make the area you work in better for the community, for your people. A creche program for single mothers, you know, whatever. But everyone does something that enhances society.
Well, tell us about the Good Capitalism Forum. For the very first time, you're bringing global leaders to Malaysia to talk about social capitalism. Why is that important to you?
I believe that there was a need to get some of the most powerful people in the world, from an economic perspective, from a political perspective, from a thought leadership perspective, from an academic perspective, to sit and talk about solutions for a paradigm shift in world economics. We cannot carry on like this. It's nonsensical. And we keep just accepting. Mm-hmm. You know, as I kept saying, you know, you go to India, you go to a multi-billionaire's house, it's gold-gilded gates and beautiful, stunning inside. You open the gates, you walk out, there's a starving child on the street with a family living on the street all over. And we walk by and we don't think twice. Why? Because we're just jaded by it, we're jarred by it. We don't, you know, it's normal, it's accepted. And I think we've accepted for too long. And to live in a society where in the same country sometimes you can have epidemics of both obesity and starvation at the same time. Isn't that nonsensical? And we accept it. And I think we just have to stop. We have to stop and we say enough. This is not about sacrifice. I live a comfortable life. I have everything I want. You know, whether it's traveling first class, whether it's enjoying hotels, it's all that is, it's normal. And I still can help. So what exactly are we businessmen or anyone else sacrificing? We just have to get involved and decide, no, we can't step away, we have to do something. So the Good Capitalism Forum is about getting all of us to work on key issues and to see if we can find solutions together. And then work on it throughout the year and produce results at the following conference the following year. We're also going to try help a single country with senior businessmen getting involved to say, what's your problem? Find one problem that you're willing to help. We will, as businessmen, a group of very senior businessmen, say, with the secretariat, that we will fund, the institute will fund, to find a solution for that problem. Like I said, right, my business can have solutions for all sorts of things. Well, let's try now. Let's give it a shot. I'm not saying that it'll work all the time, but here's the thing. If we don't try, what are we doing?
You speak with lots of businessmen like yourself, people of high caliber, great success. But when you talk about giving back to the community, making sustainable, long-lasting impact, what are their excuses? What are their problems? Why haven't we moved in direction?
Here's the thing. I think people do. I think you're wrong. I think there are a lot of businessmen that do a lot. You know, I have friends that contribute significantly to one form or another, whether it's charities or whether it's their own communities, etc. The question is, it's all individual, right? It's all, okay, I do this for this, I do this for this. I don't think the problem is not the big businessmen, whether they give or not, because I think all the big businessmen do give. They donate. But I think we want more than money. We do want CSR. I mean, we want CSR, but not the form where you just tick a box and we are satisfied. I think we want involvement. We want to change the lifeblood of a company in how they operate. So we want businessmen, and we want not businessmen just the big businessmen, we want all businessmen, traders, to think that way. Say, okay, fine, how do we enhance society? Make money, but how do we do our little bit along the way? Whether it's race relations, whether it's poverty eradication, whatever it is. You know, whether it's a Chinese grocery store owner saying, you know what, I'm going to hire a couple of Malays and an Indian to work with us. I want them to work together. Because I know that if a Malay has one Chinese friend that's a good friend, his opinion of a Chinese changes forever. If a Chinese has a Malay friend that's a really good friend, there's no generalization anymore. We've allowed a society to become polarized. How do we break that polarization? Businesses can play a role. Businesses can play a role. But we have to take those first steps. So I think what we need to do is get people involved, not just about giving money away, but giving their time, giving their energy, giving their brains. You know, when you have billionaires and strong business leaders, how do they get that? It's their brains, right? It's their ingenuity, it's their ability. What's more valuable than just giving money? Give us a bit of your time. Work on some solutions. Give us some ideas. Then with your company, my company, that company, maybe we can do something to make it work without us losing any money. Now, we're smart enough. Why can't we find solutions that not just, you know, makes a difference, but makes us all money? Nothing wrong with that. That's capitalism. I want to make money. If I don't make money, I can't make a difference. And I want others to want to make money. I want everyone to feel they can make money, whether they're an accountant, whether they're a doctor, or a lawyer, or a businessman, or a trader.
Well, the Petra Group is in many different business verticals, from green tech to green rubber to, I just found out you're also in media, entertainment, healthcare. How does these different verticals jive with the values that you're trying to
Well, I think the values
espouse?
are part of anything, right? If I do recycling with green rubber, now, I'm not doing it just because it's saving the planet in terms of dealing with the world's #1 environmental hazard. It's creating a compound, a raw material, that's cheaper than virgin compound. So yes, I'm dealing with all the tires that are thrown away, 1.5 billion tires that are thrown away around the world. But I'm creating now a product that's cheaper than virgin material, so that businesses now can have cheaper manufacturing costs, lower manufacturing costs, make more money.
And save the planet.
And save the planet at the same time. Why not? Right? And that's green rubber. That's what we do. And we're very excited by it. Of course, you know, the previous government held me back for a while. You know, it's like having a boot on your throat for 9 years. It's not easy, but now, you know, we're exploding and we're moving. You know, we still have to deal with the remnants of the last government. You know, the problems created by the last government. You know, mosquito lawsuits and things like that I have to. It comes with the territory. You know, when people see you come back, everyone thinks, okay, that's human nature as well. I accept that, and I'll deal with it, you know, as it comes. And I'm sure it'll come, and it'll keep coming. But when you see these verticals, each one is about what we can do. It's about making money, but in the way we make money, what else can we do? For example, the green rubber, we're making green rubber. One of the process flow is to get crumb. I mean, take the tires and turn it into crumb. We want to create a entrepreneurial program with the government and other governments that, look, we'll buy the crumb because that's all we need. I mean, we can make the crumb, but instead of us making the crumb, we will buy the crumb. We'll give a guarantee to buy the crumb. Now you help entrepreneurs set up centers where they can collect tires, make the crumb, and sell it to us. Now that's wealth creation, right? That's passing it on. Doesn't affect us too much. Small percentage of margin we might lose. We still make lots of money. But now you're allowing another group to make money as well. And maybe a disenfranchised group to make money as well. Maybe a young group to rise again, to rise somewhere else. So these are the things we have to do, right? To really ensure wealth sustainability is created across the board. These are the kind of things people like me must do. Not just make money, but how do I make money? And how do I enhance the areas that I'm involved with? How do I enhance the communities I'm getting involved with? Now, I will not get it right all the time. Someone once asked me, Vinod, have you ever hurt people in business? You've not, I said, as an entrepreneur, it's impossible not to hurt people. Because when you fail at something, and I have failed, when you fall, it's not just you've lost your money. People have lost their jobs. You've hurt them. I mean, you're responsible. It doesn't matter what the reasons were, but they're hurt. Investors have lost money. So it's impossible for someone like me to say, oh, we've not hurt people. Of course we have. All businessmen have. But it's what we do after and how we keep trying to make things better.
I wanted to ask you, do you find many like-minded corporate figures like yourself thinking along the same lines?
You would be surprised how many there are. And if you look at the Good Capitalism Forum's board and the people that we're inviting, my friends, they all think like that. You know what? It's almost like we've all been talking about it, but no one's actually got us all together to talk about it. So here's the first time. I've been saying we should do this. I've been saying we should do this. But how often do you sit down and talk to people and say, hey, we should do this? There's now, finally, we're all saying, we're going to do this.
So talking about it is great, but how do you ensure that after the forum, that 2-day forum?
We have a full-time executive that follows up.
Okay.
We have our own created app program that keeps all the community members in touch with each other. We're going to make it, I always believe that people will do the right thing if you make it easy. Just make it a little easier for them. People are busy. Businessmen are busy. So make it a bit easier for them that they can get involved. And we're going to create a full-time executive that is going to be responsible for following up. And those that are participating in each program will continue to participate. And the follow-up will carry on. And the work will carry on so that we have a product in different areas, different products, to be announced in the next GCF 1 year later. We will also have smaller GCFs around the region to make sure other businessmen be part of the discussion process.
One last question. What are your hopes for Malaysia?
My hopes for Malaysia, that we will be the shining beacon for the world of how, as I said earlier, a multiracial, multi-ethnic, multi-religious, multilingual society doesn't just live together, but thrives together. I think we have in all of us, we have it within ourselves to do that, to achieve that. I think we can. We've taken some wrong steps, but we always do. You can't learn about yourself unless you fall and you go in the wrong direction and you go back. The important thing is we keep moving forward. To hear the Prime Minister designate, openly state that the days of race-based economics are over, it's needs-based. The days of race-based politics are over. And to hear others, including Zoraida, other ministers say race-based politics is over. Of course, we know it's still there. But you need leadership to say that and take us in that direction. Also, we need poor Malays, poor Chinese, poor Indians to see that needs-based works for them. Because for too long, Indians were told, without an Indian party, you're gone. You lose out. The Chinese party were told, without Chinese taking care of you, you lose your language, you lose your culture, you lose everything. And the Malays were told, unless you have a Malay party taking care of you, the Chinese will take over everything you have. Fear and ignorance. So what we need is leadership that dispels fear and ignorance. That with courage takes the people forward and gives them the courage to stand up and say, yes, we can do this. And we can do this together. That's leadership. That's the leadership we need. We don't need those that just play with fear, ignorance to get their own agenda forward. We need true leadership, and I think we are getting it. I think we will have it, and I believe the Malaysian people are ready for it. And I think businessmen, and I say this openly now, must stand up with them. We must stand up and do the right thing, be the right voice, and support the right direction.
Thank you so much, Datuk Vinod. That was great.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Pleasure. My pleasure.